Hi, I'm Alfie Templeman, and these are records in my life.
Alfie, thank you so much for being on Records in My Life. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. It's good to be here.
It's definitely heady times. Radiosoul, your new record is dropping in I guess 2.5 days on your side of the pond, but 3 days here, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's literally, oh my goodness. Yeah, that is close, isn't it? Yeah, blimey.
Tell us, you had so many amazing collaborators on the record. I'll let you tell us a couple, then I'll ask you a couple of questions about those amazing artists.
Yeah, so one of them is the amazing Nile Rodgers, which I was very lucky to work with on this record. Just because he's a really humbling guy, like he's really easy to work with, really devoted to working, but also, I don't know, he brings a certain kind of energy into the studio. We did a lot of jamming around, and it was just really easy to kind of put a song together with him because he was just so open to anything, which was lovely. And then another guy, Carey, who's one of my favorite producers. He's just like absolutely incredible and always trying to just throw in weird things. Like, what if we made a really jarring drum machine sample or something and made that the basis of the song, that kind of thing. So I don't know, I just love how they go in every kind of direction,
Rodgers, I mean, he's worked with, obviously he was in Chic, and he's worked with Bowie, David Bowie, Duran Duran, Diana Ross. You have a favorite record of his?
Oh, good question. Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, Let's Dance is definitely up there. But I mean, I'd also say the first Chic album. To be honest, I think it's incredible. Like that's a good one. There's quite a few. It's hard to pick one.
Carey is a bit of a more modern day producer. Fontaines DC, Squid, Wet Leg.
Yeah.
So many records. I'm forgetting a few of bands I love. Do you have a couple of favorite records he's done lately?
Yeah, I mean, the first one that springs to mind was Schlagenheim by Black Midi. That was one that like blew my mind when it came out, just because I love prog rock in general, and was a big fan of like King Crimson and stuff growing up, like Rush and Genesis and bits and pieces. But so yeah, like hearing that in a modern day kind of updated way was really cool. But also, I don't know, recently he produced So Vanilla by Vijji, and I think that's a really cool record. I think, it's quite underrated actually, and she's really cool. So yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, he's made so many amazing albums. It's quite frankly insane.
He seems to be on like every second like indie rock / plus his own label Speedy Wunderground, which puts out a number of bands, right? So I mean,
they're great as well. And he always like works very quickly. Tries to record albums in like a couple days, which I kind of love.
Kind of sounds like Rest in Peace, like the Steve Albini method of getting in there and recording.
I've been listening to so much Shellac recently.
You have a favorite Shellac record?
Oh, that's also a really hard one, but probably the first one, Action Park. I mean, like, I just think that album is crazy, absolutely insane. Every song is so good.
Amazingly, you play 12 instruments, which is a crazy thing, because I can't play one. Pardon?
I can't play them very well. It's,
I'm sure you can.
More like 2.
I'm sure you're being a little modest. Give us your top 2 instruments which you are obsessed with and pick up like on a daily basis, because
well, the one that I've always been obsessed with is drums, and I guess the reason why I fell in love with drums was Neil Peart from Rush, and watching him play, and then watching Bill Bruford play, and then Chester Thompson, and then like, all of these kind of like proggier drummers. I always wanted to be one of those guys, like I was obsessed with like Phil Collins as well, like listening to like The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Like when I was younger, it was just like a mind-blowing experience for me. I kind of just opened up so many worlds that I felt like a kid in a candy store, really. And so drumming was what I wanted to do. But then I guess over time, guitar kind of came into the picture. And I think it was mainly because of like Jimmy Page, mostly actually his acoustic playing that I fell in love with guitar playing, like Led Zeppelin 3. I was obsessed with that. And like those weird tunings, like those modal tunings. And then like Nick Drake came along, and then like Big Star as well. And all of that kind of stuff. I just really liked open, jangly kind of modally chords for some reason. But yeah, I kind of based my guitar playing around that. And then Frank Zappa completely just like threw my world upside down, and listening to like his scales, because he mostly plays in pentatonic, but he throws in some weird notes, and I really liked that. So I started trying to do that like very badly. And then, yeah, so I'd say drums and guitar are the main two that I'm always, you know, focused on. But bass, as of the last like 5 years, has been one that, I don't know, it's, you know, a middle ground to both. So I find it very, very interested in the way that, you know, you approach it if you're a drummer and a guitarist. So I really love playing bass as well.
What's a good soundtrack to sit out on the balcony or by the beach to, you know, have a pint or smoke a blunt and just relax and
for me, that has to be Dots and Loops by Stereolab. I think it's like the perfect album for that. Exactly that, you know, just being, you know, having a nice day in the summer heat and just like being slightly crossfaded. You chuck that on and it's great. Bob's your uncle.
What's a good record to get Alfie on the dance floor the second the needle drops?
Okay, it's something that I've been listening to recently that I don't know, I found a newfound love for IDM in general, and it's an album called Go Plastic by Squarepusher, and it just like, it sends me crazy, man. There's something about it, like it's got a lot of like acid house elements, but like more just chopped up and like kind of what do you call it, like that synthesis, where granular synthesis, it's got tons of granular synthesis in it, and I love that, and I think it just makes me go crazy for some reason. And I listen to it on the tube to like wake myself up before meetings and stuff, just so I'm like full of energy, you know.
What's a good record to send out a message of hope to people?
I think of like K Tempest. Like I think K Tempest is amazing. They're like also another person that Dan Carey has produced a lot, and they've released a few albums recently that I just think, although sometimes they're a bit like bleak in terms of what they talk about, there's a lot of hope in them. And like Books of Traps and Lessons, I think, is a beautiful record that just gives me so much hope. And like, I think they're amazing, and they live literally really close to like where I live in London as well. So there's a lot of pride in it as well, I think. So I'd say that.
Alf, you've been a real sport. Let's get onto the speed round and we'll let you enjoy your pizza. Weed, wine, or water to listen to or write?
I'd say wine for listening, and I'd say weed to write.
Coffee with an artist, alive or dead?
I think, to be honest, I already mentioned him earlier, but coffee with Frank Zappa would be great, especially considering he drinks a lot of the stuff, or did.
Record of your high school years?
Number one record by Big Star.
Words of wisdom for your fans and our audience?
Go into my music with an open mind, and if you make your music, be comfortable in the situation that you make it in.
The show is really nothing without you. So please like or subscribe or check out our Patreon. And this year we've switched it up, and you can win a record just for leaving a comment. Thank you again, and we love you. Peace.